Your dog is communicating with you all the time, even in silence. They do it with their eyes, their mouth, their ears, and tiny gestures that last a split second. Sometimes those signals mean calm and trust, and other times they're your dog's way of saying something feels off. In this video, you'll learn how to read those changes in your dog's face and body so you can tell what they're feeling in the moment. That way, you can respond sooner and avoid tension and misunderstandings. Whale eye. Have you ever seen your dog turn their head, but keep one eye on you with the white showing? That's usually a clear sign your dog's uncomfortable. Whale eye shows up when your dog feels unsure or pressured and wants to monitor what's happening without getting closer. It's common when someone hugs your dog, backs your dog into a corner for a photo, scolds your dog, or brings your dog into a new place they don't know yet. It's a polite warning that says, "Stop, I need space." If you see it, pause, ease off. Dial things down, and give your dog an easy exit. The key is it often shows up before a growl so you can catch the discomfort early. And if you see stiffness or your dog freezes, that's your cue to back off and not push it. Soft eyes. When your dog's eyes look soft with relaxed lids and a gaze with no tension, you're seeing real calm. It's not just that your dog looks at you, it's how your dog looks at you. At home, after a walk, or when your dog flops down near you, a lot of dogs look like they're saying, "We're good." That look often comes with steady breathing, a loose face, and calm movements. You know how your eyes soften when you're comfortable? Same thing with your dog. Soft eyes usually show up when your dog feels safe, understands what's going on, and doesn't feel the need to control anything. Yawning. A yawn in a dog is almost never about being tired. A lot of the time, it's a stress yawn, a self-soothing way to release tension when things feel like a bit much. That's why you'll see it during intense training, when guests arrive, or in the vet waiting room. And watch during dog-to-dog moments. If your dog yawns while getting stiff or giving side-eye, they may be trying to calm down before things escalate. When your dog yawns in front of another dog or a person, they're saying they don't want conflict and they need space or calm. They're not doing it on purpose, but in dog language, it's loud and clear. In those moments, the best move is to dial things down, create space, or let your dog step away so they don't have to keep handling that stress. Lip licking. A quick lip lick or nose lick that lasts a second is usually a calming signal or a sign of discomfort. It happens so fast that it often goes unnoticed, but it's packed with meaning. A lot of dogs do it when a hand comes too close to the face, when people invade their personal space with hugs, or when they feel social pressure. It can also show up right after a small scare, like thunder or a sudden noise in the hallway, as your dog tries to self-soothe. That said, context matters. If you just grabbed food, you're using treats in training, or your dog just took a drink, licking is totally normal. What's interesting is when it happens with no food around. In those cases, that tiny signal is telling you something feels off, and your dog's trying to stay calm without starting trouble. If you see it, slow down, soften your posture, and give your dog space. And if it happens when another dog approaches, create more distance and redirect with treats. A lot of the time, that's all it takes for the signal to disappear. Relaxed open mouth. A slightly open mouth with a loose tongue and relaxed corners is often your dog's way of saying, "I'm feeling good." You'll see it during walks when you get home, or while your dog rests near you, with steady breathing and a face with no tension. Sometimes it looks like a smile, but what matters is the overall softness. If the eyes look soft, the forehead isn't tense, and the body moves naturally, that panting is usually relaxed, not a red flag. When you see it like that, you can assume your dog feels comfortable and safe. Tightly closed mouth. This one's easy to spot because the whole expression changes. A loose mouth turns into a mouth that's firmly shut. The jaw tightens, the corners pull back, and the face hardens. It can happen during play, on a walk when another dog shows up, or when someone moves in too fast. It doesn't mean your dog's about to bite, but it does mean your dog is tense and assessing. If you catch it, pause for a moment, notice what changed, and give your dog space to relax. Mouth corners pulled back. When the mouth corners pull back and the face tightens, a lot of dogs are showing nerves, uncertainty, or an excitement that doesn't feel great. Sometimes it looks like a smile, but it's not always happiness. The rest of the body tells the real story. If the body is low, stiff, or trying to move away, it's most likely discomfort. But if the body is loose, the tail is relaxed, and the eyes are soft, it may just be excitement or anticipation. And keep in mind, it's not always emotional. Pulled back mouth corners can also show up with physical discomfort too. Some dogs show it when they feel nauseous before vomiting, when they're in pain, or when something just doesn't feel right in their body and they can't explain it any other way. That's why this tiny facial change matters. It makes you look at context, movement, and patterns over time. If you keep seeing it at home with no clear reason, track it. And if it keeps happening, check in with your vet, especially with drooling, gagging, or appetite changes. Ears forward. Ears forward usually mean, "I'm focused." It's a sign of attention and interest, like when your dog hears a new sound, notices movement, or tries to figure out what's about to happen. For a lot of dogs, it's just curiosity. especially if the face stays soft and the body stays loose. But this is where these shifts really matter. If the ears push way forward and at the same time the body gets stiff, the mouth closes, or the stare locks in, it can switch from curiosity to tense alertness. Think of the ears like antennas. When they point, you can see exactly where your dog's focus is. If that focus is on something that makes your dog uneasy, that posture can be the moment right before barking or freezing on a walk. In those cases, it helps a lot to calmly redirect, create more distance, and give your dog time to process. Ears pinned back. Ears pinned back often come with big feelings, but not always the same one. In a fear or discomfort context, they often show up with a crouched body, side eye, a tense mouth, or attempts to move away. It's like your dog is trying to look smaller and not be noticed. But what if the ears are back and the body is loose, the hips are wiggling, your dog's coming in for contact, and the mouth is relaxed? Then it can be joy, a friendly way to approach without being pushy. That's why it's worth checking the overall tension. This is a perfect example of why one signal alone isn't enough. The same facial change can mean I feel insecure or I'm excited to see you, and context decides everything. If you're not sure, calm your body, turn slightly sideways, and let your dog choose to come closer. Teeth chattering. Teeth chattering is a quick, repeated jaw movement, and it can mean different things depending on the moment. In some dogs, it shows up from stress or nerves, especially in situations that create emotional conflict. It can also happen from scent excitement. When smelling certain trails, especially pheromone-related scents, some dogs do this. It's connected to the flamen response, which helps your dog process those smells more intensely, but it's not always behavioral. Sometimes cold or pain can also cause jaw trembling or chattering. So if it happens often, gets intense, or comes with odd signs like drooling, disorientation, or whining, it's worth calling your vet and ruling out medical causes. Non-thermoregulatory panting. Non-thermoregulatory panting is that fast breathing that shows up when it's not hot and your dog hasn't been running, and it's not about cooling down. When you see it, it's often a clue something isn't quite right. It could be stress, high arousal, or even pain. When it's emotional, it often comes with restlessness, stiffness, pulled back mouth corners, repeated yawning, or trouble settling, like the body is stuck in alert mode. It's common in the car, around guests, or at the vet. When it's physical, it can come with a hunched posture, slow movement, quiet whining, a sensitive belly, or an urgent need to go potty. If it shows up suddenly at rest, sticks around, or you notice other unusual signs, it deserves a vet check. Head held high. A head held very high can be confidence and exploration, like when your dog stretches up to take in the world. But in tense encounters, it can also be a way to look bigger, and that raises social pressure between dogs. You'll see it as a stiff neck, lifted chin, and a very directed stare, sometimes with the body leaning slightly forward. It doesn't mean your dog is bad. It means your dog is giving you information. Your dog's keyed up, or sizing up what's in front of them. What you want to do here is dial things down, arc away, switch sides, ask for something easy, and let your dog sniff to shake off tension. Head held low. A head held low has two very different meanings, which is why it's such a great detail for understanding how your dog feels. One is calm exploration. In that case, your dog lowers the nose, sniffs the ground, and gathers info, with a loose body and no rush. The other is emotional. Here, the head is low with a crouched body, weight shifted back, ears pinned, and an avoidant gaze that usually means insecurity or a need for space. Head tilt. A head tilt is one of the cutest things a dog can do, but like everything, it has a reason. It often shows up when your dog is processing a new sound or signal, like they're trying to figure out where it's coming from and what it means. Changing the head angle also changes how sound reaches the ears, which can help with pinpointing it. But that's not the only time dogs tilt their heads. Have you ever said a weird word and suddenly your dog tilts their head like they're solving a mystery? In those moments, they're trying to decode what you're saying and understand your cues better, like your facial expression, your tone, or your intent. Some studies suggest you'll see this more in dogs who are really tuned in to human cues, like they're extra focused. And yes, sometimes they repeat it because they've learned it melts humans and usually earns a smile or a pet. It's like tilting your phone to see the screen better, just in dog form. Air licking. Air licking isn't the same as lip licking. Here the tongue comes out more, like your dog is trying to catch particles, and it often happens right after sniffing something interesting. In some cases, it's a way of collecting scent molecules and moving them toward the mouth so they can reach Jacobson's organ through the nasopalatine ducts. That's why you'll see it a lot in areas with interesting biological smells, like spots with other dogs' markings, pheromones, or fresh trails. It can come with a pause, intense sniffing, or even a bit of teeth chattering. You can even test this at home. If you gently blow near your dog's nose, the airflow can move scents around, and your dog may do that gesture to process it better. Licking the ground. Licking the ground or a scent mark is another way to capture information from a trail. On posts, corners, or marking spots, some dogs don't just sniff, they also lick to pick up compounds more effectively and analyze them in more detail, including through the vomeronasal system. That's why you'll sometimes see the full sequence. Your dog arrives, sniffs, pauses, and then does short licks in the exact same spot. But if your dog does it repeatedly, especially at home with no obvious smell, it's worth paying attention. It could be stress, nausea, a compulsive behavior, or simply leftover food or cleaning product residue. If it becomes frequent or your dog seems unsettled, it's worth mentioning to your vet. Sudden drooling. Drooling can be normal around food, heat, or heavy activity, but sudden drooling in a specific situation usually means something. In social situations, during handling, or at the vet, sudden drooling can mean arousal, nerves, or that your dog is struggling to cope with what's happening. Sometimes it's like your dog's body is bracing to get through it, even if your dog doesn't feel okay inside. If you also see it along with panting, stiffness, ears pinned back, or restlessness, your dog is asking you to lower the intensity. You can ease off the interaction, create distance, and give your dog a moment to breathe. And if the drooling comes with gagging, vomiting, lethargy, or pain, then it's no longer just body language, and it's time to check your dog's health. Turning the head away. Turning the head away is a polite way of saying, "I need space." In this case, your dog isn't growling or getting angry, they're simply moving the face away to lower pressure. Have you noticed how often it happens when someone leans over, goes in for a kiss, or puts hands on your dog's head? That's your dog politely saying, "Not right now." If you respect it and back off, a lot of situations diffuse on their own. And here's the important part. If you ignore that warning, your dog may feel forced to escalate with stronger signals. When you see it, lower your energy, give space, turn slightly sideways, and let your dog be the one to approach. Hard stare. A hard stare is that intense, barely blinking look that locks in like a laser. It usually shows up in high arousal states, and it often comes with a stiff body, a closed mouth, and a more head-on stance. In a social encounter, it can be a sign of conflict or that things are escalating if nobody lowers the pressure. But here's the thing. There's also a tense stare that's about getting something, not confronting. Your dog might want food, a ball, or might think it's time for a walk. In that case, the focus is on the resource, and it's more anticipation than threat, even if the face looks just as serious. The key is the whole body. If your dog aims that posture at another dog or a person and everything tightens up, create distance and end the moment. Looking away. Looking away lowers social pressure and is often a calming signal. A lot of people read it as guilt, but most of the time it's canine politeness or discomfort. With that look, your dog is saying they don't want problems or confrontation. It's very similar to turning the head away, just softer. Just shifting the eyes is an early, gentle hint your dog wants to dial the interaction down. Turning the whole head usually means your dog needs more space or the situation feels heavier. That's why this detail matters. It lets you catch discomfort before things escalate. If you see it, soften your posture, reduce direct pressure, and give your dog the option to move away. Now you've got the 20 small facial changes that reveal what your dog is feeling, so you can respond before tension rises. And if you want to keep learning your dog, check out the other video you see on screen. In it, I'll show you 10 things to do before leaving your dog home alone. Click the video on screen to watch it and get the full breakdown.